Steve Jobs was born on February 24, 1955 in San Francisco and adopted shortly afterwards. He was one of the co-founders of Apple Computers, a technology organization that contributes in inventing revolutionary technologies. Steve Jobs was always stubborn in his childhood, but he was an intelligent and innovative thinker. His foster father learned Steve Jobs to deconstruct and reconstruct electronics such as radios, television, and computers. Working with electronics became a hobby for him. Jobs studied at Homestead High School. After his graduation, Steve Jobs went to Reed College in Portland for 2 years, but he dropped out to visit India and to study Eastern religions. In that time, after being a member of the Homebrew Computer Club, he met Steve Wozniak, who later became his future business partner. Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs were both interested in computer chips, which were mainly unknown by others in that time. In 1976, Steve Wozniak and Jobs have sold their personal belongings such as their car and a scientific calculator to establish the Apple computer. Their main goal was to invent smaller, cheaper, and easily accessible computers for everyday consumers. The most of the available computers were extremely large and not affordable for everyone. Wozniak was designing user-friendly computers and Jobs was responsible for the marketing and sales effectivity. After 3 years, sales had increased by 700% and the business was transformed into a publicly owned corporation, worth of $1.2 billion. However, despite the major success of the corporation, the next version of Apple computers resulted in unsatisfied customers because of the high price in the consumer market. Because of this, Steve Jobs pitched the computers in the business market. Even though the system was user-friendly, it lacked features that other competitors had, such as a large storage and network capabilities. Apple could not compete with IBM computers that were invented in 1980. This major setback triggered Steve Jobs to leave the company. In 1985, Steve Jobs established the hardware and software organization Next, Inc., followed by purchasing an animation company that later has changed to Pixar, an animation studio that has produced popular movies such as Toy Story and Finding Nemo. Pixar later merged with Walt Disney in 2006 with Steve Jobs as the largest shareholder. After Pixar's success, Jobs sold Net Incorporated to Apple and had taken back his position at Apple as a CEO. He redesigned Apple with a stylish design and an effective brand marketing strategy. By using online marketing channels, computers were sold immediately to customers. Later in 2003, Steve Jobs was diagnosed with neuroendocrine cancer, but 9 months later, surgery has successfully removed the tumor. After his illness, Steve Jobs innovated other products such as the MacBook Air, the iPhone, and the iPod. Due to these inventions, in 2007, Apple's stocks have increased to a record-breaking number. In 2008, Apple's iTunes Music Library developed its position to the second-largest music retailer in the United States. Apple was also ranked by Fortune magazines to the #1 most admirable company in the United States. However, in 2009 speculations on health problems were made by the public because it seemed that Steve Jobs had lost weight. He usually never shared private information to the public, but on October 5, 2011, Apple announced that Steve Jobs had passed away. Steve Jobs died a billionaire at the age of 56, and his last words make us think about the meaning of life. Here are they.
I reached the peak of success in the business world. My life is the epitome of success in the opinion of others, but I have nothing to be happy about except work. In the end, wealth is just a reality of life that I am used to. It was then, lying on a sick bed reminiscing my whole life, I realized all the recognition and the wealth that I was very proud of became pale and meaningless in the face of the impending death. You can hire someone to drive for you and make money for you, but you can't make someone else take the illness from you. Lost substance can be found. But there is one thing that can never be found when lost, it's life. When a person enters the operating room, he will find that there is a book that has not yet been read, the Healthy Living Book. No matter what stage of life we are in right now, over time we will face the day when the curtain falls. Cherish the family that loves you, love your spouse, love your friends, be kind to yourself. As we age, we gradually realize that wearing a $300 or $30 watch, they tell the same time. Whether we carry $300 or $30 purse or handbag, the money inside is the same. Whether we drive a $150,000 car or a $30,000 car, the road and distance are the same and we reach the same destination. Whether we drink a $300 bottle or a $10 bottle of wine, hangover is the same. The house we live in 300 square feet or 3,000 square feet, loneliness is the same. You will realize that your true inner happiness does not come from the material things of this world. Whether you take a plane on first or on economy class, if the plane collapses, you'll go with the flow. Therefore, I hope you can recognize that when you have a partner, buddy, old friend, sibling, you talk, laugh, talk, sing, talk about north, east, southwest or heaven and earth. That is true happiness.
Steve Jobs lived from 1955 to 2011 and was 56 years old. Today, the company Apple is still operating and innovating revolutionary technologies for future generations.